Hi folks, my name is Randy and I am the change manager here at Clarivate. In this video, we will be going over how to create and submit a change request in ServiceNow. On my screen, you'll see the access panel for Clarivate, and it's in alphabetical order. So if you scroll down, you can find the link to ServiceNow located here. And once the page loads up, you can navigate to the left-hand side of the screen and you will be presented with the menu. Locate change. Underneath change, click on create new. Upon clicking create new, you'll be presented with three more options: normal, routine, and emergency. In this example, we will be using a normal change request. Once the change request record opens up, make sure you save your change request number, because this will be an easy way to find your change in case you lose it. Now in the form, we can begin filling it out. Anything that's annotated with a red asterisk, it is required before you submit the change request. Alright, back to the top of the form, we will be selecting data for this request. The configuration item is based on the item that will be changing in production. Here I will be selecting Jira. For developer, I will be using my colleague's name, Nancy. I will be the implementer. And if I am the implementer, I cannot be the validator. Someone else will need to check my work, and I will be, once again, using Nancy as the validator. Our assignment group is ServiceNow Change Management, and I am assigning the work to myself. The short description is a summary of what the change will be. So for this, I will be using Jira and then entering a short description for the change. You can add more towards the description in this field here. So for this one, I'll just copy whatever is inside the Jira that I'm using for the example. Over here, you will find the justification field. Normally, you can attach an email requesting this work, or if you have a Jira, you can also reference the Jira for the work that's required. The risk and impact analysis is using your best judgment to determine the risk to the production environment. So for this one, I will be putting in low. For pre-production QA testing, this is how we capture any test that is required for the change. So going back to the Jira, we can see that QA was required, and you can see the link to the test over here. So since we know this Jira has completed its QA testing, we can just copy that Jira number again and say QA testing was completed on that Jira number. If there was no testing required, please mark down why QA testing was not required for this change. For the user acceptance testing, we can find that document located here. So now we can reference the test document on the Jira as well. So we can write down UAT testing was completed on that Jira number. If UAT testing wasn't required, please annotate that in this box. For the implementation plan here, I'm just going to write down what is required for the delivery for this change. So I will write down DevOps will be performing this task. For post-implementation and test plan, this is asking, how are you validating your work once the task is completed? So I will go back up and grab the validator's name and write down Nancy will check the prod environment to see if task was completed successfully. For the backout plan, I will be entering DevOps will roll back the changes in case of failure. Once everything is filled out, head over to schedule and submit a time that you would like the change to be performed in production. And for the planned end date, enter a schedule that your team will be comfortable with in performing this change. So for this one, I will give DevOps a 4-hour implementation window. Now, once you filled everything out, click on Save Draft. When you click on Save Draft, it will kick you back out of the form. And this is the reason why I asked you to save the change request number. So I'm going to reference that number again. And here in the magnifying glass, you can click on that and paste back your change request number. Hit enter, and now I'm back in my form. And once again, I'm just checking over the information to make sure everything is entered correctly. Once you checked your work, you can go ahead and request approval. Now if I scroll down, I can see whose approval is pending on this change request. And as you can see here, it is waiting for approval from one of these approvers. Once you request for approval, the approvers will be notified via email that there is a change request waiting for their approval. To help expedite the process, it's recommended that you reach out to one of the approvers for their approval. So for this example, I will be approving my own change request. Now that this change has received its first tier approval, it is now waiting for CAB's approval. So now this change request is ready to be presented in CAB. The Change Advisory Board meetings are held daily at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. You will be required, if you have a change request submitted, to attend CAB and present your change request on behalf of your team. Once all the checks are complete and all documents are attached, you should receive the approval from the Change Advisory Board. After receiving that approval, it is now pending for InfoSec's approval. Once that approval is received, your change request will be moved into scheduled. Once it is in scheduled, I, as the implementer, can come into this change request, pick up the change, and move the change from scheduled to implement. And now this change is ready to be implemented. On the screen, you'll see a different CR. I am using this one instead for the example on how to close out the change request. So once the change has been picked up, implemented, and moved over to review, the validator will come pick up the CR and verify the change has been done properly in production. You scroll down to close your information here, and underneath close code, you're presented with 3 different options: successful, successful with issues, and unsuccessful. We'll be clicking on successful for this example. In close notes, you need to enter the information that you used to verify the change was done properly in production. So here I will write down verify the code in production, no issues. Once the close notes are entered, you can locate the close button right here on the bottom left and click close. And that would complete the change request.